Make Peace with Nature is a syndicated public affairs presentation of this station, dealing with solutions to problems of energy, conservation, and the environment. Today's program will be hosted by David Serber.
Hello, and welcome to Make Peace with Nature. This is the second program in a two-part series dealing with problems of urban blight, with the focus on the problems which beset Cincinnati, Ohio. The city is situated along the Ohio River and is home to a world-class orchestra which plays in a grand hall which rivals most others in America and even Europe, and which, it should be noted, has a bright future owing to a major grant by philanthropist Louise Nippert. The city also boasts several major art museums, theatrical venues, beautiful parks, and what has been called the world's largest Oktoberfest. It is home to Fortune 500 companies, including Procter & Gamble and the Kroger Company. Alas, it is also beset by blight in the form of vacant lots, abandoned business districts, barricaded homes, and other buildings. The latter brings street crime and, taken altogether, diminish the quality of life for its citizens, in some neighborhoods more than others. My studio guest has been hard at work for many years trying to slow this disrepair and decline, and one day, and with more help, to stabilize and even reverse the process. Linda Holterhoff is Executive Director of Keep Cincinnati Beautiful, a group of dedicated and hardworking people whose efforts have earned the city national recognition. More after this.
The views expressed on Make Peace with Nature are those of the participants and not necessarily those of this station or the program's underwriters.
Linda Holterhoff has worked for many years in City Hall. I think you're down in the basement, aren't you?
Yes,
down in the basement with her band of dedicated volunteers, and they've done much good to improve the image of the city, and more than just the image and more than just spray painting buildings to make them look good, which are in fact abandoned. They have concrete plans to create an atmosphere of stability and a welcoming atmosphere which will cause the people that have moved out of the city in the last 50 years to begin to move back into the city. That's the goal. Isn't that the real reason you're doing this?
I love Cincinnati, so I want people to move back in. I want it to be vibrant once again. You know, and last week we talked about some of the other cities that do have that vibrancy and people moving back in, and that's
Portland,
what,
Oregon, Seattle.
We want that here in Cincinnati, and we should have it here because we do have those wonderful amenities you talked about. And I'm very excited about this new program. I don't think I've been as excited about a program except when we brought in the curbside recycling program over 20 years ago. I was really excited about doing that. This program has potential to really shore up, as you said, communities and change the way Cincinnati can look and feel. And it needs to be done on a grand level, and it's going to take a lot of money to do it.
Right, and talking about money, are you, without being specific, are you getting money from the major, I spoke of the Fortune 500 companies here, are they behind this financially and in other ways?
Right now we're working with the city manager, his office, and trying to put together a funding campaign. But I have received funding so far from Fifth Third, which has been a great sponsor of ours throughout the years. We just received a grant from UPS along with Keep America Beautiful. They've have given us a $10,000 grant. We have received a grant from Home Depot, and we have one in the pipelines from the Greater Cincinnati Foundation. These are my normal funders, but we need a lot more help.
Isn't it true that you're going to need millions, not thousands of dollars? In no way to be denigrate what you've been given so far. aren't we talking of the order of millions of dollars to revitalize these rundown areas, which we'll see shortly in some slides?
Right.
You can't do this for thousands of
No,
dollars.
this isn't thousands of dollars. What we need to do is really put an infusion of dollars. And you're right, millions can absolutely be needed for this. What we're modeling our program, now this is our vacant lot program. Keep America Beautiful formed a great partnership with the Pennsylvania Horticulture Society last year, and they brought with them a program called Philadelphia Green. And theirs is a very simple concept. You green it, you clean it, you green it, you put a fence around it or some type of branding, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to say this is ours and we're taking care of it. And they also put trees, so it's very limited. It's not a wildflower preserve. It's not, it's just too expensive to do. Again, the same as we're doing with the windows and doors. We're trying to get something that's low cost but high impact and brands it. So we have the windows, you'll see it's the same concept all around town. It's a brand. So people know it's being cared for by this program, by Keep Cincinnati Beautiful, by the people that are supporters. But the same with the vacant lot program. Now, Philadelphia has been doing this for 25 years. They have 4,000 lots under their belt right now, and they have strategically placed those lots. For instance, where there's economic development programs already starting, let's say around the over the Rhine area where 3CDC's done so much work, what you want to do is take that and kind of, almost military, get your perimeter, set and get it looking good all around that, so that the development goes through and has that support that's needed. So you want to get all those windows and doors painted. You want every single lot done. And this and some of the problems we're going to have is those lots that are privately owned. And I think that the city needs to take a really hard approach on this at this point. You cannot let these property owners continue to let their property look the way it has year after year after year.
Well, they can be summoned to court to answer for
but they don't come to court. We don't know.
Well, then
who
why
they
can't
are.
the property be can't the city put a lien on the property then?
They do. When do you get that lien?
What do you mean? When do you get to go to the courthouse and apply for it?
You apply for it, but when do you get paid for the lien? When somebody else buys it, but nobody else is buying it. And when they do, the lien can be so high that people will, it's huge. If you knock down a building and then you have to take care of that land year after year, the city and the liens get higher and higher, then when you go try to sell it, it's so exorbitant, the cost, you can't sell it. Do you see? It's a catch-22.
It certainly
it's
is.
not. It's complex.
All right.
Again,
the slides that we have, and I'm going to ask the director this question. Brian, last week I think we used approximately 10 slides which would illustrate the Future Blooms project. Is it possible that we could, rather than repeating the first 10, could we begin in the middle of the slideshow? And if so, you're on.